let's bring in Dr. Stephen Fish. He is a professor of political science at the University of California, Berkeley, and he joins us live this hour from St. Petersburg, Florida. And thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Now, U.S. President Donald Trump, he says, quote, great progress was made in Witkoff's meeting with Putin. Let's talk about Witkoff. We know he's a real estate mogul. He's a close associate with Donald Trump. He has met Putin before. But does his visit move the needle at all?
No, it probably doesn't. Witkoff has no expertise in diplomacy. He doesn't know anything about Russia or Ukraine. He's not taken seriously in Moscow. And if you really wanted to deliver a hard message to President Trump about impending sanctions and about getting serious about defending Ukraine, Steve Witkoff would be the last person you would send. He's oftentimes known for repeating Kremlin talking points. He really doesn't have that much authority. If President Trump wanted to actually show that the Russians he was serious, he probably would have sent somebody like his Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. But that doesn't mean that nothing is in the offing. What we know today is that Trump has said that he's planning on meeting with Putin and then Zelensky and Putin fairly shortly. So the question is whether Trump is actually going to follow through on imposing harsh sanctions, including secondary sanctions on China for helping to prop up Russia's war machine. That's what remains to be seen.
So let's dig into that, these next leader-to-leader meetings. Again, Trump says he intends to meet with Putin and Zelensky. Let's talk about the meeting with Putin first. Trump has, as you indicated just now, threatened severe tariffs if Russia fails to reach a ceasefire deal. Trump has also talked about submarines, nuclear submarines that are, quote, in the region. Trump likes this tough talk, but how effective is this tough talk on Putin?
The tough talk doesn't matter at all to Putin. What's going to really matter is whether Trump is willing to follow through. Look, we have to remember that conquering Ukraine is Putin's highest priority. He's been willing to sacrifice hundreds of thousands of lives of Russian soldiers. He's willing to sacrifice hundreds of thousands of more lives. This is his main priority. Putin thinks that Russia can't be a serious country, an empire that is a truly great country in the world, unless it includes Ukraine, unless it annexes Ukraine. Putin, this is everything. So if Trump's going to get through to Putin, he's going to have to actually follow through with imposing much tougher sanctions than he's even talked about so far, aiding Ukraine more seriously and imposing secondary sanctions on China. Only that would even get Putin's attention.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, the potential impact of secondary sanctions. You know, Trump is slamming India with tariffs for buying sanctioned Russian oil. He is threatening China with the same. Nothing confirmed here, but you believe that that pressure would work on Putin to get him to agree to a ceasefire?
Well, it's just going to have to be part of a bigger package. I mean, the main thing is aiding Ukraine militarily and financially at a very high and sustained level without any more talk of pausing support for Ukraine. It's going to have to be full-on, long-term support for Ukraine. The secondary sanctions on China will have to be severe. The sanctions on India are already something of a promising sign from the standpoint of Trump's intentions. And India might have to back down and quit buying oil from Russia. We don't know that yet, but China is a much bigger case. But again, the problem is with Trump, all we've heard so far is a lot of talk. Now, this is an improvement, I suppose, from the way Trump used to talk. Trump used to, talk about abandoning our 80-year-old force multiplying alliances with our democratic partners in Europe for a place as a junior partner in Vladimir Putin's autocracy international. At least he's not sucking up to Putin the way he used to. Still, though, we haven't really seen a willingness on the part of Trump to really take it to Putin and make the cost of continuing this war in Ukraine unbearable for him. That remains to be seen whether he's going to deliver on that.
Absolutely. Trump's tone on Russia has certainly changed, but will it lead to effective action, a lever on Vladimir Putin? Stephen Fish, we thank you for your very clear analysis. Thank you for joining us. Take care.
My pleasure, Christy.